Okay, time for a demonstration. Uh, Here's the cloud-based management interface and login. We have two-factor authentication, so I'll just put my additional information code in here, stored on my device. Okay, all right. We can see the system is showing that we have no current problems. I do have 18 systems that have agents out of date. So if I click on that over there, I can see that some of those agents need updating. I'll deal with that later. But I have 0 infections currently. This is the dashboard, the working list for anybody responsible for responding to anything that may be happening on the site or the SOC. And if they saw something here, that means the policy on the endpoint was alert only or alert and kill. Consider something that's been killed as still has the potential to run again. So it's only been killed, then it's based upon policy, then it's still there to be examined and analyzed. So, okay. We have mitigated most of our policies to be alert, kill, and quarantine. So we would see most events here. And of course, we know what block means. It was detected either by signature-based analysis or execution or by file inspection engine before it ran. So those are what those categories would say. Activity further down. This is our log file. Just shows everything that's happening on the system, and we can filter it to look different views of exactly what's happening here. We see a particular laptop has gone offline here. Here's one coming online. This allows us to go back and carry forensics on previous events in our system, so we can go in with these with those. And I'm sure forensic on a live piece. So I want to show you just that. When we have network, it shows all the systems and the groups that we have are looking after. And in fact, one of these systems, if I go down to UK development, it's Tony demo to Windows 7. That, in fact, is this system right here. This is the Windows system over here, and we can see from that in the UK development group, the UK development policy. So let's have a look at that policy. Okay. Okay, policy UK development. It's certainly currently set to alert, kill, and quarantine. I'm going to modify that because I want us to be able to see the forensics. So I'm going to change it to alert only. Now it's a really strange thing to do, but I'll switch off, disconnect from the network as well. So this is really a policy that's not going to do anything. I'll save that. Policy change will apply in the next 10 seconds or so. So this is set to alert only. And that means I'm going to let the malware run all the way through so that we can take a look at the forensics capabilities and so we can see what the malware did. Not something I'd advise anybody to do if you're not familiar with malware. So alert only is how it's set at the moment. It's going back to the network. I can click on Tony and I can get quite a lot of information about that device already. What version of operating system it's got, how much RAM it's got, what version of agent it's currently installed on it. And I can see it's online and the network is enabled from here. I can also see which applications are installed on the systems and, of course, any running processes that are currently on the system as well. So even before any event takes place, I can carry out various forensics. So we're going to go over to the Windows device there. Now remember, this is alert only. So any malware is going to be allowed to run all the way through. So what I'm going to do is look at some malware samples I got over here. See, it's in a folder here. A little special brand here for me. So I open up pictures, for example. Now everything I'm doing right now is being watched all the time by the Guard365 agent. So its behavior is what it's watching, really. And at the moment, it's not really guarded because I haven't done anything malicious or opened any folder or looked at anything, some pictures that hasn't created any malicious activity. What I'm going to do now, though, however, is I'm going to open some malware samples. Let's see here. Okay, these are password protected on my computer here, so I'll one of these onto the system. Password protected. Of course, that's enough right there to defeat a lot of antivirus sweeps. Of course, because it's an encrypted file, they can't see what's in it. So, first of all, I'm going to run virus here on the payload. So it's a file object. In this case, payloads. It's often used and delivered as part of a drive-by attack when you visit various websites. So I'm running it as though it's going to a website. So if you go to the website, open the website, and that's the threat was detected and blocked straight away. There it goes. So this was known. This is bad, already known as bad executable. It blocks straight away, just like the antivirus component would do. If I analyze it, it's going to give me very much. See, it doesn't not going to give very much. It shows me basically nothing happened. It didn't do anything, but here we can see that it was known as a high risk, and there was its signature. Could take a signature and go examine it on another platform to understand what it was and what was prevented. Let's see here. The reason we love this, of course, interested to know what's going on happening at your site. And if there's ever a proliferation of malware suddenly appearing on the site, it could indicate that an event is taking place. Maybe there's a concerted attempt to breach your network. Its own. That's one's not to worry. So many marks of results. All finished as far as malware event concerned, and we turn the interface to normal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run AlphaCrypt instead. Now AlphaCrypt is not a known piece of malware. It's part of the current malware campaign. It's ransomware. What it will do is to attempt to encrypt all the files on my system, and because it's not got a signature, if they produce new versions of it every week, it will not be detected by the block mechanism. So I'm going to run this and detect it, hopefully, as part of as a malicious component. So as part of the behavior, basically. In fact, we're at that point. If they had a policy that was kill and quarantine, we would already have stopped this malware. It would have been killed and quarantined, and the alert generated would have appeared and mitigated. However, I have the policy set to alert only to allow us to carry out the forensics. So here on the system, it's still running, and it wants to delete the shadow copy service. So I'm going to say yes to that, because typical user wouldn't know what that means. And that's it. Now we have a typical ransomware component here. My pictures, my Excel files, all of that's going to PDF. Here, all those things have been encrypted. Now I get this message on the screen with a demand for Bitcoin be paid within a certain time period, 95 hours in this case. So back over here, this allows me to show off the forensics capability. If I do analyze, we can see where the file is. It's on this particular drive, and it's in this directory. It was on the desktop. You can see there's not much information about it. It was an unknown piece of malware, so it was detected by behavioral, what it did, and behavior analysis. Okay. We can see it made connections. So it made 2 connections here in the US, then 2 to the UK, and 1 Germany, 2, let's see, 2 to Romania. So we can see the behavior demonstrated that made us catch on it was basically made us understand it was malware. Some network activity, stealthiness, anti-detections, exploitation, persistence, etc., etc. So these are the kind of behaviors we saw at the runtime that made us think it's malware. We go to the attack storyline. I can see that this is me running Explorer. I ran AlphaCrypt. Alpha started to run. I created a copy of it. It created a copy of itself. Then it command shell, and then it ran the command shell in the background. And that command shell used to delete the original copy, and then created a new executable. And that executable was then used to attack the virtual shadow copy service. So here's what it went. Here's where it went for the files on my system. So it's moving files, writing to files, modifying files. I can see exactly which components were touched by the system. In fact, we have full forensics. If we go to the bottom, we have the full raw data of everything that was happening during the attack, and that can be downloaded very simply, very easily. That stuff here. Those the information. That can be downloaded in different formats for analysis here, and any other tools you wish to use for analysis or whatever. I've seen enough. I can see that this is malware. This begs the question: is there anything that we can do about it? So here's the user. Remember, policy was alert only. It didn't attempt to kill or quarantine because I didn't tell it to do it. So if I go back to here, what options do I have in terms of actions? I could manually carry out any action that could have been an automatic policy kill, quarantine, remediation, or rollback. In this case, because we've lost files, it's clear we're going to need to use rollback. So what I'm going to do here is carry out the rollback. Okay, rollback operation. So here here on the endpoint, it will kill the running process. It's not just the initial process, but any additional processes that will run. It will contain the component to prevent it from running again. You'll see it disappear from the desktop, and it will also remediate and roll back the system. If it ever tried to restart it, no, it wouldn't let it. So we have all of our files back. The system's back in good state. By the way, even the desktop has actually been recovered. And if I do a restart, the desktop will go back to normal. It's a peculiarity of Windows. When you change the desktop, it doesn't apply until either the user logs off or you restart the computer. Okay. All right, back to our interface, we can see that the event was mitigated. So it moved to a mitigated state. And as that rollback action, kill, quarantine, remediate, or rollback was carried out. And there it is on the interface. And the Apollo, I see a little quarantine. There it was. You could see events take place, and you see most of them blocked and mitigated. Only if you had an alert or an alert and kill policy would you see anything appear active. So that's it. It's a demonstration of capabilities, certainly. We like the fact that the artificial intelligence, along with the behavioral, can detect viruses that aren't known and offset them. Normally, at that second instance I gave, would have been a ransomware where you're trying to hunt down as far as pay a ransom. In this case, you roll it back and you're right back to business. Don't lose a bit of time. So, if you have any questions, a board pop up here with the address, name, everything for the company, Guard365. Appreciate your time.